We're going to continue the ankle team, and we're going to talk about something that I know a lot of people get quite excited about. A lot of therapists feel overwhelmed sometimes, and that's getting that return to play just right for that patient. And this is something, an ankle, where therapists, they tend to skip steps a lot, and they don't tend to take ankles as serious as maybe, a low back or a groin return to play. But what I can tell you from my experience is that when someone comes into me with a hamstring or a groin or a low back even sometimes, that very often we see the impact of not having enough intent through a foot where they may have had previous ankle injuries. So I think the ankle, it's one of the most important joints to really give back the nervous system the confidence to tolerate load in all different directions. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is the ankle return to play. Okay, so how I map it out in my mind is this is getting back to return to play, return to life, return to running. Okay, so what we need here is we need good change of direction. Okay, so that's full range of motion. Okay, especially in the calcaneus. Okay, so again, we don't want any protective tone, anything like that. We want these guys to be able to tolerate high loads going through the muscles. Okay, so again, how do we do that? Sprinting, change of direction, etc. That's going to stress all those tissues. So what we talked about last week is our key performance indicators here. So if we have that calf raise good, okay, so we've got a full calf raise, then the next logical step from me, okay, if I wanted to tolerate loading ground reaction forces through sprinting, okay, that to me personally, I think is too big a jump. So all we want to do here is we want to fill the gaps. Okay, so we want something else here. Okay, so we'll have range of motion here. We'll have a calf raise. We get those two nailed away. That's probably session 1 to 2. Okay, constraint based, that's all we're focusing on. We nail that. The next thing we want to do is some kind of maybe lunge, okay, or something like that, where we're working on accepting weight. You can see the lunge, that's going to feed into our change of direction or deceleration. Okay, we can do a lunge in all different kind of ways to stress the calcaneus, to stress the ankle joint range of motion, to stress different fibers of the tissues in a natural, more controlled way than if we jumped from here straight to there. Okay, one of the big things then we also want to do is maybe some ankling. Okay, why would I want to do some ankling? Well, I want to do some ankling to check, are the peroneals able to brace? Okay, do we have some good midfoot stiffness? Okay, why is that going to be important? Okay, because that's going to be pretty important for top end speed. Okay, it's going to be very, very important as well for accelerations. Okay, so again, there's no point trying to do this, in my opinion, if we can't even do that. Because if we can't do that, then that tells me that either there's a problem with the tissues, whether it's the syndesmosis, whether it's the peroneal, some of protective tone, that's not allowing the gastroc and the cilius to produce force. Okay, we nail that, we move on, we increase this load. These two might be sessions 3 to 4. Okay, we're happy with that. To nail the ankling, then to get from here to there, we want to make sure that athlete or that patient is ready to run. So that then for me would be my hopping progressions. Okay, so again, I've got 3 different levels with the hopping. Okay, for deceleration, I've got 2 different levels for the acceleration that I do. But once my athlete comes through those, okay, what we tend to see is this. Okay, so we actually overload the tissues that we're worried about before the athlete runs. So this might be running session 1, this might be running session 3. Okay, now that sometimes we might actually just go straight to 3 if in the one session, and once we give them that great exposure. But here we're going to overload with some high level hopping. Okay, we're very, very interested after the session, during the session, is there any reaction? Okay, has anything here changed as a result of doing that? If anything has changed, then I'm like, okay, am I starting to get a bit greedy with my load, or can I push on a little bit more? If that athlete comes back in the next day, they got full range of motion, good calf raise, absolutely no pain doing any of those, they've nailed that. Okay, now let's get back up to that next logical progression. Okay, so having that common sense step-by-step system It just helps you to keep focused on the important things so that you're not skipping steps, basically. So this might be session 5. They might fly through that, okay, and then they're back running at session 6 or session 7 to 8, depending on the severity of that ankle syndesmosis. If it was an ankle sprain and it wasn't too bad, you got rid of all the swelling, that may take one session, that may take one session, that may take one session, they may be back in 4 sessions. It does not matter, okay, how long it takes once they've earned the right to progress within reason, okay, especially for the ankle where if they've strained some tissues, especially lateral ligaments, we know that a lot of people will be working without those anyway, but we still need to make sure we've got good intent through all these. And then the other big thing we want to make sure is that we've got good intent from that gastroc and that hamstring working well together as well, okay? So we want to be able to push through that foot, okay, and making sure that these are working well together as well, so that one isn't maybe overloading for the other as well. Because if we've less intent here as synergies, the other is probably going to take up the extra workload, okay? So that's how I would basically map it out. It looks an absolute mess. As I said in the mentorship, we've got all the lovely templates and it all looks a bit neater than that. But that's basically what I want with an ankle, is I just want to go through the step-by-step process in 3 dimensions, okay? So again, we're not all sagittal plane. We might need the frontal plane, we might need the transverse plane. That's going to come down to the 80-20 rule, okay? So again, 20% of our time is maybe getting this stuff right, but 80% of our time is focusing on some of this stuff, okay? And again, we might be working on range of motion in the sagittal plane, and we can be up here on session 1 with some high level stuff in the frontal or the transverse plane, or vice versa. We might only be at level 1 with a frontal plane, and sagittal plane we might be actually progressing them a little bit. So there's loads and loads you can do pretty much from day 1 post injury. And I think a big reason why we've had great success in getting athletes back ahead of time, okay, from traditional textbook return to play times, is that while a lot of therapists are just happy to let the athlete stay there and, you know, just chill out for a day or two, stick the ankle in a bucket of ice. Yeah, sure, we're doing that as well. They're doing that in their own time, but we're working very, very hard on this guy. And there's going to be a lot of loading that you're going to be able to do on that guy that's not going to affect your actual pain experience, okay, or your actual tissues. So it's a nice way of working, and then we cut off the time we've earned the right to load, so by the time we get to the running, they're able to tolerate that ground reaction forces from the bottom up. Now, again, there's some literature out there that we have gone through with this in terms of the ID loading, and you know, it's very, very useful to have that constraint base. So this is all we're working on this week. This is what we're working, because then you don't skip steps and you nail every single step. So the athlete has earned the right to get back to their activity, or the private practice patient's got earned the right to get back to doing whatever they love.